Good evening, friends. Welcome back to the channel. Sammy Thunder here. It's been a pretty cold weekend, if I may say so. Hope everybody is doing well. So yesterday I ventured out to New Jersey, drove around, went to a flea market at the Meadowlands. It was absolutely freezing cold. Never got a chance to check it out. I've always wanted to check it out, so I did that. Then I went to a card show, which I was surprised to see Dan Vintage Baseball PC there. It was a nice surprise, and it was, as you can see, I think I'm pronouncing it right, the Hinchliffe Stadium in Paterson. That's where the card show was hosted. Inside the museum that they have there. Beautiful museum. I didn't get a chance to spend too much time there, but the shirt looked really cool. Wanted to pick that up, so did that. And after that, I kind of just went to a few shops. I went to like a collector's shop, which wasn't just cards. It was kind of an assortment of different things, different collectibles. Then I went to another shop, got some lunch, and then went home. So pretty quiet on the card front. Haven't really purchased anything since the Burke Ross maze. Been mostly focusing on just more educational videos, which I'm trying to kind of better myself at. Making these videos and hopefully teaching myself something, and for others that watch it, they learn something from it as well. But really, the premise for tonight, that as we go into this triple header, starting here, the chill and chat, and then going into Alex's live stream at 8 o'clock, and then leading into the headlining of Four Collectors. So, good lineup. I generally will do these live streams whenever I'm not hosting a Four Collectors Sunday live stream. I usually will do a chill and chat on the weekends when I'm not hosting. So this is will generally be a routine on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Really, the thing I wanted to kind of get into tonight to talk with you guys about is, and this is a slippery slope of a conversation. I bet you it's going to be a slippery slope. It's going to lead everybody down their own rabbit hole as far as how they interpret this. The premise of grading. We could talk each other blue until their faces turn blue on this topic. But everybody has a reason, and I don't think there's a reason to fault somebody else for wanting to grade something. There's no. Some people call grading a scam. Some people don't grade at all out of preference, and whatever your opinion is, it doesn't. Whatever. I mean, that's your personal opinion, and it has no bearing on anybody else. My thing. The one thing that I've always really wanted to understand is we pump so much money into grading companies, but yet we know so little about the process. You're given on both PSA. I'm using PSA and SGC exclusively because I don't really have much of a background on the Beckett or the CGC or whatever they're CSG. I don't know what they're called. But on those two websites, PSA and SGC, you are given a guideline sheet that says this is a 1, this is a 2, this is a 3, this is a 4, and so forth. And you're given kind of like a paragraph long understanding of what constitutes a 1 and 2 and 3 and so forth. And that's supposed to be your reference. Clearly, we've seen that that reference guide is used very loosely, at least from the perspective from others that I've talked to, and myself included. What does a one constitute? Well, we would think a one constitutes creased up card, corners are just absolutely rounded off. Maybe even a piece of the card is missing. Sometimes that does happen with ones. Sometimes the card is marked. Um, a variety of different reasons. But we found that there are ones that are better than others. So where is that in the conversation? We don't really see that as part of the conversation at all. You know, ones with better centering than others. Um, twos, threes, and so forth. So I'm leaving it to the chat. I'm leaning to you guys to kind of generate some dialogue here so I can kind of work with the chat a little bit. Love to know what your feelings are about grading. What are you pumping money into? What is your outcome? What do you expect from these grading companies? Is it really just meant to be a fun thing to do? Not concerned about the grade, or you know, you just kind of let the chips fall where they must. You know, for me personally, I like to grade because of what is it? For preservation reasons. I generally try to focus my grading on preservation. From time to time, there will be some cards that I think just have incredible registration, centering, color, and I'm thinking, man, if I sell it raw, it's going to be a lot more difficult because the price point's not going to be. It's going to be the range is going to be a lot wider. So, but if I grade it, the range is smaller, and if I sell that card, it gives it a small enough range, a small enough window for me to know how much I should be expecting for it. And then you got to play in your mind, especially if you're planning on selling the card after, you have to factor in all the expenses. $15 a card, let's say $5 shipping if you have, or like if you divide the shipping up based on the number of cards you have. And you have to kind of, be a wizard and try to predict what the card is going to grade. But then that in itself becomes such a convoluted thing to really, get into. It's like, oh, I think this is going to be a 7 because I looked at that 7, I looked at that 7, and it looks so similar to mine. And then you get the card back and it comes back a 5, and you're like, where did I go wrong? It's a foundation that is flawed. Let me see what you guys are saying. I see Ryan said something. In investing, I generally believe that if you don't understand how the process and product works, don't buy it. In the 80s and 90s, Becca taught us how to grade. We've set that aside because of money. But that's the thing, Ryan, is like, what is the process? We don't know how the process works. And there's no inside scope of that. I can't, when you said 80s and 90s, Becca taught us how to grade. I don't know exactly. I don't have experience with Beckett in the past, so you'd have to explain that further as far as what that looks like. So Jake says, I agree on the preservation point, and to me, it's about uniformity in my PC. I want all my pre-war tuxes. If it's PC, I don't care what it grades. I'm with you on that as far as uniformity in the PC, wanting kind of adherence with SGC in particular. So totally get that. PSA is the lowest standard for centering for Gem Mint 10s, but apparently it's rigid enough for most. I also think people would rather get a 10 back, even if it has to meet a lower standard. I guess you're referring to more modern cards, Carlisle, because I mean, getting a 10 with a vintage card is, you know how that is. When people get a 9, they behave like their dog died. Jesus. I try not to pay attention. I try to grade stuff or sell trade less than I used to. It's a frustrating. Yeah, it is a crapshoot. It is an absolute crapshoot, without a doubt. I mean, it's. I mean, what can you do? You think your card is going to get a 7, then it comes back a 5. I mean, what can you do? Remember, those graders look at the card for 1 minute. Has that been proven that is? I mean, I guess it must be. Logic must state that these guys are only looking at it for 1 minute because of the amount of cards they have to go through. That's the only logical explanation. I guess that has to be what it is. So, yeah, that's what I figured, Carlisle. I mean, it's a completely different world when it comes into the vintage. Yeah. I mean, getting a 10, 9, yeah. It's a totally different, I guess it's a totally different world with that. So the grading school final exam was grade 10 cards in 20 minutes with notes. That's interesting. Where's that? Was that on a video, Orlando, or is it written somewhere on a website that talks about what that looks like? So there's no justification that a 9 doesn't equal the cost of grading the card, so why grade? There's no justification that a 9 doesn't equal the cost of grading the card, so why? All right, I had to read that twice to really kind of fully grasp what you're saying there, Mike. If we're talking about modern cards, I can't relate. So I can't really. You guys are going to know more about that. I'm looking at this purely from a vintage standpoint because I don't really dive into the modern stuff. I just don't look at what these outlooks look like. It seems like, based on what Carlisle said, if you're getting a 9, it's the end of the world. You can cover the grade and pretend it doesn't exist. You could do that too. Just stop looking at it. Stop sending the idiots cards. That's what you can do. Patty. We're in way too deep at this point. I mean, like I said, everybody has a different reason to grade. I don't fault people for that, but I'd like to know exactly what we're like. I would just like to know what this process looks like from start to finish. If people are looking at it for 1 minute, if they're looking at a card for 1 minute and passing it on and assigning a grade for really, really fast, then explain that in detail. As far as like, what are you looking for? I mean, I don't know. What can you do? You can crack and resub. That's what the companies want you to do. Yeah, you can do that. It's a waste of money if you ask me. So, it is what it is, I guess. Hey, Doug. Welcome in, man. We're having a great conversation. We're having a very debatable discussion about grading. You attended grading school for CGC. I had no idea you did that. That's pretty cool. So you have an inside scoop on that. Why should you grade with PSA when they had a PSA said 2 years ago that they were going to try to get back to $10 a card? Good question. For selling, I get the desire to grade for my PC. I've adopted the Adams Splendid Sports Card method, use Zion MagPros, and pay to grade, hopefully decades from now, with whoever is the industry leader. You could go that route too and just have your own stuff. Have your own. So I think SGC should slab vintage cards with light blue tuxedos with puffy shirts, just like we wore in the 70s. Yeah, let's go with that route. Did a video a couple of years ago, took notes and shared them. No video pictures were allowed. Trainer was Andy Broom. Didn't Jeff Doofus do a video where he went I actually just watched that video. That actually was probably the best video to see, but it really didn't. I mean, it explained a few things, but didn't really go into detail. You just see, he takes you around the space and, you know, and it introduces Jeff Wilson to uh, a bunch of the staff and shows him some of the equipment that's used. PSA has changed the way they graded a 5 year and a half ago would be a 4 now. They've wrecked the value of all their cards prior to 2024. Yeah. This is a great topic, by the way. I think PSA has done videos on how the grade, but the math doesn't work compared to how many employees they have. Beckett used photos to show us. Out of 10 cards you were given, one was either altered or trimmed. We were told they gave me a colored 71, caught it. Buy the card already graded already or not. Play the dopey eye appeal game. Playing the grading company game is not conducive to leading a happy life. It's always going to piss you off in the end. Just stop it. I don't have any issue with people wanting to grade their stuff. I just think that it's, grading is, the whole grading process is a wormhole, and trying to make sense of it may not be feasible in this one live stream that we're doing right now. Probably not. But to me, that's the biggest question is, how does a certain card constitute as a 5? I mean, we've seen this time and time again. PSA grades something as authentic or doesn't grade it because of X, Y, and Z reasons, and then the person sends it to SGC and it gets a 6. So it's really a case-by-case basis. It depends on who's grading it. My thing is that, if the person at SGC graded a card that PSA considered authentic a 6, how many people saw that card coming in? Was it just that one person, or did a proofer see it? Because according to that Jeff Wilson video that I watched, that Jason mentioned in the chat, they have a proofer that after the fact that the card has been given a number or whatever grade, there's a proofer, someone who, I guess, with more experience, that looks it over, does like a quality control final check, and says, yeah, this is a 6. Okay, you can go ahead and pass it through. So that was interesting. I thought that was good, that at least they have somebody at the end of the line, which, it's kind of a waste of resources, because in a way it's kind of a waste, because they would have to crack the slab that they graded a 6 if the proofer thinks it's lower or higher, and then they have to go through the process again. So I can only imagine how many cracked slabs they would have to break into to redo the process. I feel like, this was 3 years ago, so granted, that might have changed. Your offer job, $50,000 a year, moved to Sarasota, declined. I can't tell you how much better I like it not giving them one card to grade. Very comforting. It's fair enough, man. I love watching reveal videos and see people cry. That's a twisted sense of humor, my friend. Whether it's perceived value for your PC or actual value, if you're looking to sell it, value increase is always the why. Yeah. Like I said, there may be times where we submit things because we think that the current raw value that it sits at will be $25, but when you grade it and then you tack on the fees included, you will wind up with a bigger profit margin. So another reason why people grade. That's a given. Third party vetted by the hobby, assuring us of authenticity and to some extent resale value. That is grading in a nutshell. Yeah. Grading is one person's opinion. Big cards get second look. 10 grades get second look. Senior grader. Big card. Yeah, I guess big cards get second look. So what is the big card? Why can't they tell us these X cards will get second? I guess you can't say that, right? You can't say these cards will get second looks. But this measly Duke Snider will not get a second look. I don't have issues with it. Just understand it's going to piss you off most times in the end. Upcharges and all their bullshit. I really just don't need it. I stand for something. I know you don't have issues with it. It doesn't really piss me off. I've never really. I've been perplexed, but not pissed off at times. But I've kind of grown to understand that this is like, case by case. Yeah, you've come to the right live stream tonight, man. It's been a while, but you're coming back into a very hot topic of grading and why people do it. I'm not not why people do it. That's the wrong way to put it. I grade my cards. I grade a lot of my PC stuff for preservation reasons and for, as Jake Waxpacks Wisdom said, for uniformity. So that to me I think it's a valid reason. I don't think there's a wrong reason to grade. It's your choice, right? It doesn't matter. But I feel like if we're going to send stuff in and dish extra money, why not understand the process a little bit? Why, what constitutes a certain card to get a certain grade? I don't know. It's like head explosion. There are no big or small cards, just cards that are more expensive than others, pretty much. I'm kind of with you, Petty. I buy raw stuff less frequently because I buy more pre-war, and there aren't many dealers I'd buy raw pre-war from. Yes. What's up, Dom? Welcome to the madness. Steve with a PH. What's up, buddy? The happiest collector in this community. Oh, man. So, I don't know. I thought this would be a fun topic to get into. I keep trying to make sense of it. And there's really not much to make sense of. It's personal preference, ultimately. But then it's like, you see those situations where an authentic card or something that can't be graded at PSA gets graded by SGC. And then you compound that with the fact that now Collectors is creating an umbrella of both PSA and SGC, but yet there's separate entities. But are they? I mean, I don't know. Carlisle, I actually developed some software for myself to guess a PSA grade. I ended up being pessimistic because I assumed a low grade any metric would limit the highest grade possible. I always take a pessimistic approach if I'm grading something. Better to lower your expectations. PSA SGC likely want to protect their process to some degree. They put many years into developing it. I understand that, but there should be a little more transparency. That's my take. That's why I brought it up. Grading, huh? Do you do what you want with the cards, but I've always seen those fees as money I can use to buy more cards, some already graded. Yeah, you're speaking Petty's language right now. I generally will buy graded cards mostly, for the most part. It definitely does help when it comes to graded cards. It definitely does help to when you're buying them because it gives you, generally speaking, I'm not going to say always, but generally it gives you a smaller window as far as how to evaluate their price. So, granted that the card is not is not super rare and you can't find really any price on it. Yeah. Lick the cards. There you go. That's you can do that. They need to develop tools to communicate how they arrived at the grade and not just arrive. Yes, that's a great point. That is a great point. Explain why something graded the way it did. That would be, I mean, yes. Explain it. Give us an explanation. But they can't afford that because time is money. They can't afford to have the grader spend. Well, Orlando says they all have notes. Yeah, so share the notes. Yeah, that's a good solution. Give me a reason why something graded a 7, a 5, authentic. It'll be great. I mean, I've been in this position. I submitted a 1986 Fleer Larry Bird. I thought it looked great. I wanted to submit it, so I did. I submitted it, and it came back authentic, color added. I'm like, okay, color was added. Can you tell me where the color was added? I'd like to investigate it myself. Tell me where you think. That'd be great. PSA base guidelines. Yeah, no, I mean, we talked about that. So, I mean, are you talking about the range, right? Of what the grades, what a 1 should be, what a 2 should be, and so forth. I think the majority of people who send stuff into grade are sending modern. I'm not sure those folks care as much about the nuance of how stuff is graded. It's either a 10 or it's a crack or a sub. I'm not even going to go into that. I can never be a grader. My personal life would get everyone grade thanks to my wife. Oh man, let's make that a testimonial. Grader has to say why crease, etc. They just don't release the notes. With today's technology, it shouldn't be that difficult or expensive to give a reason. Agreed that specific notes need to be given to us upon grading. It would just kind of clear a lot of things up if you decide you want to go that route. Let me ask you guys this question. Let's say there's a super well-known, I'm not going to name names, a super well-known collector or big name in the hobby. Let's go with that. Big name in the hobby sends something to PSA or SGC. Do you feel like the grading companies are pressured to provide good grades because of the big name in the hobby? Is that too controversial to ask? Just want to get your thoughts on that. Is there some favoritism going on, maybe? I don't know. That might be too controversial of a question to ask. I don't want to, But I wonder if perhaps, when it comes to market control, curious. You got burned. Okay. I guess it answers that question. I don't really watch a lot of Jeff Wilson stuff, so I haven't kept track. Did you see the Topps living card? It's Tom Seaver as a Met. I have not seen that. Peep says that would be hella risky. As far as the favoritism, be careful, Don. Oh man. The scene's 1 of 1 got graded 2 days after. Sant Magical got a 10 auto 10 grade. They take 6 months for everyone else. My understanding is that they paid out the nose to get that thing graded fast. If it's true, okay. I had to get my 61 Fleer Chamberlain rookie card graded and had to pay more to get it graded than I paid for it. I don't understand why it cost me $300 and it took less time than my 1908 Ogdens, or is it Ogdens? Sorry if I don't, footballers. Why it took less time. Yeah. I trust SGC more than PSA. I think CGC is better than PSA. Look at the label. Look at the slab. Look at their graders. Only flippers like the grid with the PSA and SGC should sell for the same. Yeah. I like SGC too. Scott, it's been a while. It has been a while, friend. They're not pressured by the submitter, but definitely when a hyped card like the Skeens debut patch comes in, I'm sure it's good for everyone's business for those cards to get the best possible grade. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Don't doubt it. Oh, yeah. Am I going to see you next weekend? Are you coming to the vintage get together? Because if so, I will be there. Are you bringing shirts? All right. So we're 32 minutes in. We don't need to continue talking about grading. Scott says, "Yep. All right. I guess I will be seeing you there." Let's talk about the 31 people in this chat right now that are going to Strongsville. How many of you are going to Strongsville in the chat? Make mention. And also make mention if you went last year too. Hobby President was in the area yesterday. Yeah, he said he went to Ellicott City for dinner. That's a very small city. So yeah, Brian, I remember you were there last year. Orlando, obviously, you were there. Scrapbook Sammy, great work you've been doing for the last 7 months for the community. I truly appreciate it. Keep up the great work. I'm truly inspired. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I do what I can. Try to be as effective as I can be in this community. I thought of you because I saw a Cassius Clay card the other day. Been thinking about getting one. I feel like you're the right person to talk to about that. Jim will be going, Scott says he thinks he can make it. I am and went last year. Annandale show as well. Last year too. Going for the second year. We're going to eat some Oh, hell yeah. We're going to eat Swenson's. I'll be at Strongsville for the first time. Sounds exciting. Oh, man, you're going to love it. There's a boxing guy there that I filmed last year. Check his table out. I'll just come up to me. If you see me, come up to me. I hope that guy is there because it seems like that's the stuff you want. Won't be there. See you guys at the National. Not too far away, my friend. What I miss? I'm not starting over for you, Lou. You can go back and rewatch. First time going to Strongsville. Definitely going to Strongsville. Have been the last 3 years. Oh wait, Scott is going. Never mind. I'm out. What is this? This bitterness towards Mr. Reindeer. Makes T-shirts for you guys. He provides you superstar love. Man. I'm not going. I'm also pretty confident that Strongsville doesn't exist. This is a snipe hunting of card collecting, I think. Me and Rocket Rick are rooming. Rocket Rick is a gunner guy. Never really been to a show, so I envy y'all folks got to come here for my fix. I'm going up. Hang on a second. My cam is lagging. I will have to reboot the live stream. It's not going to go anywhere. Hang tight. All right, let's try this again. Hopefully, this thing doesn't crap out on me. Okay. I think I'm good. So, Mookie says he's going to drive the Zamboni. Yeah, good luck. I don't think that's going to happen. Not going to Strongsville, but we'll be going to the Cranston, Rhode Island show next weekend. Get in touch with me. I got you. Zamboni time. That's the kind of pandering that gets you. We'll see. I'm not lagging. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's good that you guys aren't seeing any lagging. My computer is starting to crap out. If I'm trying to really get the most out of it. I've had it for about this computer for about 4 years. So really, technology seems to be crapping out at a much faster pace. So it is what it is. Okay, I think we're good. So yeah, man, Strongsville. One of my favorite. It's probably my favorite show to go to. It's easy. It's an easy navigation walk. You can find a lot. Really find so much there. All the major dealers are there. The Best Western Plus is right next door. I just suggest don't stay on the 6th floor if you can avoid it, because you'll be like John from Wade Boggs fan, where you'll have to go up to the 5th floor and then and then take the stairs every day to the 6th. So you get what you get sometimes. But you hang out with your friends, man. You got to do that at the downstairs in the lobby. You got the YouTube gathering that happens. Thanks to Chris from Missouri for pulling those strings. Yeah, Orlando kind of put it best. All major vintage dealers, so convenient. Best of all, YouTubers. Yeah, all of us nerds hanging out. That's gonna be the case, man. It's gonna be the case. Lots of major things happening too, man. Lots of fun things in the works, in the pipeline. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna go like that though. Yeah, it generally does. But definitely looking forward to it. I really need to come up with a strategy, or not a strategy, just what cards I'm looking for. Because the one thing that just keeps circulating in my mind over and over again is a card that I probably will never ever get in my lifetime, and I just have to live with that. But that's okay. So, yeah, man. The Northeast is like, when it comes to the Northeast, temptation is real. You have card shows, Philly, the White Plains show. You have all these. It's all these kind of like luring temptations. The auction houses. There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff happening, man. Way too much. Carlisle saying he went to a Culture Collision show in Atlanta, hoping to finish my 52 Topps Brave set. I ended up getting a card from both the vintage dealers at the show. You mentioned earlier that there were like a handful. You can count on your hand how many were there. So I'm sorry to hear there were not a lot of vintage representation there. But yeah, man, Swenson's is definitely on the agenda. Probably eat at Swenson's every day. Like, I will leave the card show, after I've walked it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And I'll go to Swenson's. Anybody who wants to join, I'll have my car with me. Anyone who's been in Reindeer Studios' car, it's a hell of a car. So, yeah, man, Swenson's. I think that's going to be my diet for the entire weekend. If you haven't gone, do yourself a favor and literally go at least once. Legends Never Die, Jake, Drew from the Vintage Legacy, and Dom and myself went. It was spectacular. I am riding with B-Roth again. I don't know if Mookie and Pete are coming along for the ride or if they're driving themselves. It definitely was a vibe. Yeah. It was cheap too. Cheap and really good. Scott's not allowed to go there anymore. Which one? There's a bunch of them. What is this Swenson's? It's a burger joint, and it's like a dry. It's kind of like a what do they call it? Like a Sonic drive-through meeting burgers, exclusively burgers. Birthday cake shake. Scott's driving is just okay. I'd like to see your driving, Rick. Please, only just one burger. Yeah, man. Good times all around. We're going to hear a lot of hips crack at this thing. A lot of backs snapping. And a lot of vintage card love. And some snoring. Bring your CPACs. Need to get a group to go to Whitey's Booze and Burgers. Now that I haven't heard of. What is this you speak of, Matt? Is Swenson's one of those places where they wrap it in wax paper and the grease still leaks through? I don't think so. I think they have their shit under control. At least from what I remember. But then again, it was like, I don't know, it was almost midnight when we went there that one time. Got to give it to Jake, our commissioner, man. He drove us all around. So, oh man. So, what do we have next? We have Alex Bowman 53 running his usual Sunday nights at 8 o'clock. And I don't know who's doing the 4 collectors tonight. I think it's John or Theo or Caesar. We'll see. Lot to look forward to, though. I'll definitely have something cooking for, as the dates gets closer. I'm in savings mode. I can't be spending more on cards right now. I got this. This is my big card last year. I haven't shown a single card yet. What the hell's the matter with me? This is what I got last year at Strongsville. You guys, the bazooka. I don't care what you guys say. This is a sweet looking card. It may not be the best photo of him, but it's a damn good looking card. Oh, hell yeah. Dom mentioned it, man. The Raising Cane stopped Crush too. Oh, hell yeah, it does. Keith, you got to stop going to card shows. Bazooka is strong, man. Hell yeah, it is. It is absolutely strong. And this is the one I got right before the National. How I was able to get more funds for the National after getting this card, I don't know. No, I'm actually not hungry right now. But you put Swenson's in front of me, I'd probably eat it anyway. That was a Chapel card. It was, man. Raising Cane sauce is bonkers food. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, the Texas toast is what slams. What else I got in front of me? I got stuff that I'm selling, or that I've sold actually. This is technically not mine anymore. This has now officially been sold to Jason from Everyday Card Collector. Sold him the Stan. And I'm also selling him the JoJo White. That's a beautiful rookie card. Don from the show and me, he doesn't have this card. So when I see him next week, it's going right to you, Don. You didn't have the Don Nelson rookie. Yeah. Lots to look forward to. Let's see if I can get this back in here. Let's see. Texas toast with fresh chicken deli, can't go wrong. Is there a Raising Cane's in Hawaii? I can't imagine there's one in Hawaii. 46 minutes. I think we've hit a plateau. I think we're good. So put on your best Seaver face because Alex is coming up next. And then whoever's doing the Four Collectors video will be going on after him. Looks like Alex has a panel tonight. Put on your best Seaver face or your best Ted Simmons face, depending on whichever one. And make sure you have your chicken tendies ready because that is the way to go. So thank you everybody for watching, for joining me tonight, hearing me blabber about grading. Look forward to Strongsville, enjoying Swenson's Burgers. I'll be back next weekend, and you'll see videos interspersed during the course of the week. But until then, have a great start to your week. Catch up with you guys soon. Take care.